Hello, I'm Lorette Ligon, President of the Jacksonville-Onslow Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of the Chamber membership and our Board of Directors, I want to thank you for joining us for our Forum Onslow. The Chamber works with government agencies on issues that affect our business community. We monitor legislative issues that impact local businesses, and we promote partnerships between business, government, military, and education, and we use these forums to create awareness on topics that are important to our entire community, such as the election of those that represent us on the state and local level. Our sponsor for this Meet the Candidates Forum is Jacksonville Board of Realtors. Speaking on behalf of our sponsor is Christina Ashbury, a local realtor and the legislative chair for the Jacksonville Board of Realtors.
Thank you, Lorette, and welcome. I'm Christina Asbury, a local realtor and accredited land consultant who serves as the legislative chairperson for the Jacksonville Board of Realtors. We represent over 1,000 realtors who live and work in the diverse communities of Greater Onslow County. Realtors adhere to a strict code of ethics. We are passionate about serving and supporting individuals, investors, and families as they pursue their dreams of owning, investing in, or renting real estate, and as they navigate some of life's most significant financial decisions. Realtors are equally passionate about building strong, prosperous, and resilient communities, supporting an informed community, responsive government, regulatory efficiency, protecting private property rights, and offering a healthy balance of housing options for everyone. For that reason, civic participation is a hallmark of the realtor profession. On behalf of our CEO, Jamie Cooper, our President, Jeb Brown, President-elect Jamie Dorn, and our fellow board and committee members, an incredible professional staff, and the more than 1,000 members of the local Jacksonville Board of Realtors, thank you all for taking an interest in your government.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you for the support. Okay, we're going to get started. Our moderator today is Mr. Bob Dupuis, and our timekeeper that's going to keep you on track is Lachey Cavers. Bob, it's all yours.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Christina. Okay. Before I give you your rules of engagement, I just want to thank you publicly for being a part of this process. You make a difference, whether you win, lose, or whatever. Your voice and your interest in your community is just to be admired. So thank you for that. The rules of engagement are, this is a forum, not a debate. You're to address the questions that are asked to you. You can address the crowd here, or you can talk to me, or there's cameras in there, but they'll be looking at you. So the questions are going to be general in nature and suitable for all the candidates, both mayor and town council. We ask that you adhere to the time limits. When you see the yellow light, you've got 30 seconds to end your response. When you see the red light, please finish your sentence. When your time is up, let's see, opening remarks are going to be 60 seconds. Each question you're going to have 60 seconds, and then you'll have a closing remarks at 60 seconds. We're going to alternate the order of questioning, and I'll start down here with Pete when we get ready to go, and then we'll just go down the way, and then the next one will go to Dorothy. So if there's no questions, for those that are viewing from home, these candidates are seated in the order that they will be on the ballot in your region. So there are a total of 5 candidates for the town council, and you're going to vote for 2. There is a special election for an unexpired term, and you may vote for 1. So I will encourage you to speak up loudly, and I'd like you to introduce yourselves, starting with you. Pete?
Pete Bardigan, the current mayor of Holly Ridge. Oh, do you want me to start? Okay. I was appointed mayor of Holly Ridge a year ago. I have 35 years of business experience to bring to this job. Holly Ridge is my forever home, so the future is important for me. Since I have started being a mayor, I've done many firsts for Holly Ridge ever. One, I'm a full-time working in the town hall. I also have, we've started a strategic plan, long-term budgeting, improved communication with the citizens, and made many political connections. This is all a start. There's a lot more to do. We have a great deal of activities that is planned in our strategic plan, and I look forward to getting your vote, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dorothy?
My name is Dorothy Royal. I'm running for mayor of Holly Ridge. My husband and my children were all born in Holly Ridge. I have extensive family that goes way back in time in Holly Ridge. We also are local business owners. I own Paradise Axe and Arcade and Sur City Guns and Ammo. My daughter runs the local newspaper, and I'm a columnist that's been writing for papers for 15 years now. I am very in tune with the community. I listen to people that come in our doors every day. I've heard the problems. I've tried to do my best to help people, but it's finally gotten to the point that I feel like unless I'm in a position of either council or mayor, I can't offer any more help than I have been able to. And I think there's a lot of frustration in the business world right now in Holly Ridge. There's a lot of small businesses that need help. And I just want to make conformity across the board so that everybody who walks into the town hall is given the same information. Everybody who files permits gets the same information. I just want fairness. I want transparency. And I want our town to move forward in a great way. And I am not for the annexation of the 1,200 acres. Thank you.
Jeff? Good morning.
Hi, my name is Jeff Barton. I'm running for one of the 2 seats for the 4-year term. My wife and I moved here from West Michigan 8 years ago. I soon after joined our HOA board, and I'm currently serving my 6th term, or 6 years on that board. Through that, I got to interact with the staff and work with them when we had issues or concerns with our community. Through that, I also then joined the planning board 2 years ago and further got to know about the town, the staff, the issues, and now I'd like to take it to the next level and join the town council. I have no ties to the city, no businesses, nothing to gain personally from it. I just like to help people and hope to help our community.
Thank you, Jeff. Rena?
Hi, my name is Rena Bragg. I'm running for one of the 4-year seats in Holly Ridge. I've previously been on the town council for 26 years, but I think it's an honor and a privilege to be afforded the opportunity to serve the citizens of Holly Ridge in its entirety. I've lived here in Holly Ridge for 49 years, and I've seen firsthand some of the potential and challenges our town faces, such as growth and development that affects our community, supporting the business, affordable housing, managing local tax, supporting infrastructure needs, while managing growth of the town and community involvement, to name a few. I previously served on the board for 26 years in the capacity of mayor, mayor pro tem, and board member. I've also served on the Housing Authority Board. I've also served on Routes of Recovery, Volunteer Fire and Rescue, Parks and Recreation, and I would appreciate the vote of the citizens and confidence in me to serve as a liaison for the town.
Thank you, Rena. Greg?
I'm Gregory Hines. I'm 72 years old. I'm the only one running that has never lived outside the city limits of Holly Ridge. My entire life has been there. I'm a 3rd-generation resident of the town. My grandfather was the first mayor of the town. My father was mayor of town. I served 2 terms as mayor of the town, plus I've been mayor pro tem 5 times. I'm a retired federal firefighter, retiring at the rank of assistant chief of training. I'm also on the Onwassa board, where I served 5 years as chairman of that board. I'm a member of Sneeze Ferry Regional Freewood Baptist Church. I'm a 32nd degree Mason, and I'm a Shriner. On March 2011, I was recipient of the Longleaf Pine Award for community service. And if I don't get this in, I'm in trouble. I've been married to my wife, Cheryl, for 46 years, and I appreciate the board and the realtors for putting this on. And I look forward to answering questions.
Thank you, Greg. Brandon?
Hi, my name is Brandon Longo. I'm a lifelong resident of the town and proudly call Holly Ridge my home with my wife and my 3 amazing daughters. They're my world, and they're a big part of why I'm stepping up to serve. With over 26 years in the fire service and as your current fire chief in Holly Ridge since 2012, I've dedicated my life to keeping the community safe. I've seen firsthand what it takes to protect our families and our neighborhoods, and I know how important it is to make sure all of our services have the support, training, and equipment they need. Every second counts, and we need to be ready. I also believe in common sense spending. Every dollar the town spends needs to go where it's needed and not where it looks good on paper. As Holly Ridge continues to grow, we've got to stay focused on priorities like public safety, roads, utilities, and infrastructure. I love this town. I've built my life here. I've raised my family here. And I'll do everything I can to keep Holly Ridge a safe, strong, and thriving place. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Pam?
Hi, my name is Pam Hall. I too was raised in Holly Ridge, a member of a military family, not uncommon. I left the area for about 20 years pursuing some career goals and realized about 13 years ago, career's great, but family's better. So I came home. I opened up a restaurant there and got quickly involved in the community through the customers, and then decided to delve into the government of Holly Ridge. I have been on the board for 8 years. I enjoyed every minute of it. I'm proud of the work that was done. I'm currently on the board as an appointee and would like to take one of the 2-year slots, the 1 2-year slot, and stay on the board 2 more years. There's some projects going on that I would really like to see finished, and I'd appreciate a vote.
Thank you, Pam. Richard?
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Royal, and I'm a lifetime resident of Holly Ridge. As a local general contractor, I've spent my life working hard and giving back to the community. I'm running for the 2-year council seat because I believe democracy depends on choice. It's time for a little refreshed thinking and moving forward. I'm running because I'm against the annexation of the 1,200 acres, and I think it's time to move Holly Ridge in the right direction with leadership that listens, plans carefully, and puts our community first. I've been self-employed since I was 26 years old, and I'm not beholden to just about anybody. I'm able to retire, semi-retire at 55. I want to focus on improving our zoning and building ordinances so the growth can happen responsibly and benefit everyone.
There we go. Thank you, Richard. Okay, you all did so good that I get to skip question number 1. So here we go, straight to question number 2. And we're going to start with you, Dorothy. Okay. This is, what is the biggest challenge facing Holly Ridge, and how do you propose to address it?
The biggest challenge we're facing right now is water and water pressure. I think we've all seen that firsthand. We had a fire last year at J&J Food Plant. Unfortunately, it drained the water from the entire town. My business is right near there. Our home is right near there. Our rental properties are right near there. That was a very scary moment for us to realize, had another fire taken place at the same time, we would have lost one of the structures completely, I believe. This is something that we have to address immediately. We need water towers up now for pressure. We need more wells dug that are just sufficient for our fire protection, because if we're building taller and taller buildings, we need more and more water pressure. I currently live in a 3-story apartment complex called Evolve. We have sprinkler systems there. My biggest concern is if there was ever a fire on the top floor, would there be enough water pressure to put out that fire and get everyone out safely? So to me, our water is number 1 before we take on any more development of any kind. Jeff?
Yeah, I kind of agree with her. The water and sewer capacity is number 1 concern. ONWASA is a government agency created by the Onslow County and surrounding municipalities to provide water and sewer services. We don't have any immediate control over that authority, but we do have members on the board, and all we can do is impress upon them our needs and convince them to increase capacity. Infrastructure such as water and sewer is not going to be put in before any new development. It usually follows or meets the demand as the development is built up. So that's our number 1 concern.
Thank you, Jeff. Rena, biggest challenge?
I agree that the biggest challenge certainly is water and sewer. I think that Holly Ridge has to continue communicating with the UNWASA and pre-planning to make sure before additional developments come in that they will be able to offer the water and the sewer, and certainly not only just developments, but for the essential growth of the town for all the citizens as a whole.
Greg?
Well, I guess sounds like the major topics on WASA. WASA consists of 8 members. 2 from Jacksonville, 2 from Onslow County, and the rest from the municipalities. Onwasset, as I've said before, is a domestic water system. It's not designed to be a firefighting system. If it was designed to be a firefighting system, the rates would be so high, I don't think anybody could afford it. They have plans in the works to increase the capacity for the town. But again, we have no control over what Onwasset. We can demand, we can ask all we want. But if those other 7 members don't agree to it, it's not going to happen because they've got to look out for their taxpayers and their citizens and the residents in their area. So it's an ongoing thing that Onwasset is working to try to make better capacity and the plan to put in a water tower. But right now, that's one of them things that Holly Ridge might be a major concern, but it's not something we have a lot of control over.
Okay. Brandon.
Unfortunately, a lot of the challenges that we will face is out of our control, as has been said before. But a strict managed growth plan with a stern focus on our infrastructure is our way of kind of working towards a resolution to the issues that we have. Water supply, it is a popular topic. That is what I would put my finger on as major challenges that we would face. And it's Holly Ridge sees, rapid growth throughout the years. It also puts pressure on roads, utilities, schools, and vital public services. Unfortunately, with the water supply that we don't have no control over, it directly affects your ISO rating in town and impacts your insurance premiums. So, thank you.
Pam?
Sitting on the board and you talk about challenges, those challenges come every day, every week from directions that you don't even realize are coming. So to pick one thing and say that's our biggest problem, for me is not a way to focus. Someone once told me if you weren't behind in infrastructure, then you were spending money on something you're not sure you need to spend it on yet. We're always going to be behind on some infrastructure. We're always going to be behind on the water and sewer. But even as a council person and as a town staff member, when things come into the day-to-day that you have to react to, for example, we realize that our social media is impacting us and now we have to put things in place to help with that. So the world is moving so fast. Just staying ahead of the public and doing things what's right for our citizens, that's the challenge.
Thank you. Richard?
I think the biggest concern with the people in our area is the annexation. With a petition out there of over 800 people that have already signed it, that's twice the number of people that voted in the last election. I think that's their biggest concern. I think the water is a byproduct of a concern that we're going to outgrow what we already have in town as far as utilities. I think this is our biggest concern. I think this is what this vote is based on. I think people are going to come out and vote on the annexation, whether we get it or whether we don't.
Okay. All right. Pete?
Growth is natural in our area, and infrastructure is a challenge, as everybody has mentioned. One of our challenges is to make sure the citizens of Holly Ridge understand the impact of all potential growth, even in town or outside town in the county. The best what we can do as the leaders in the town is to make sure it's well coordinated with DOT for roads, with school, with Onwasset, because we don't have control over any of them, but communication and getting political support to make sure they can support us as we grow, even if it's not in town, is important. Annexation is one issue that I'm sure is going to come up again during the question, is a challenge, and we need to make sure the citizens understand the impact of it in town or not in town. So I, as a mayor, have been able to communicate with the leadership of other entities to be able to support the citizens.
Very good. All right. Here's our next question, and Jeff, I'm going to start with you. Some municipalities in Onslow County are rewriting their comprehensive plans. What principles should guide land use decisions, market demand, infrastructure readiness, conservation, or is there something else that you like?
All right. Our town just finished, within the last couple of weeks, our land use, our comprehensive land use plan with citizen input and involvement. We had volunteers from the community. We had a couple of council members. We hired a consultant, and we all worked together for almost a year developing this land use plan. We had a meeting with citizens where they put up their desires and so forth, and we narrowed it down, and we also sent out surveys. We got over 320 replies, which is, I wish we had had more, but so that's how we utilized their input along with the volunteers for this comprehensive land use plan. Thank you.
Rena, comprehensive plans.
Well, you have to set goals for the plans that you want to put in place, and certainly get the involvement from the citizens as a whole, and make sure that everything that is being done is for the positive growth and development for the entire town as a whole, and make sure that they go back and revisit and look at it to see if they're meeting the goals that have been put in place in reference to the plans.
Greg.
We have, over the years, we have set goals and all to say we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and most of them fell by the wayside. This term right now, we have just did a strategic plan that plans for the future of Holly Ridge and encompass the land use and all. It's a plan that we've never had. We've established goals of how we're going to follow it, and I think it's a big step in the future of how we're going to handle things in the future. Like I said, it's something we've never had before, and the goals we've had, we just never followed them. And I've been on the board a long time, and I commend this board that we have now for doing that plan and putting so much into it, and along with the volunteers that have worked to do our land use plans and all that.
Brandon.
Comprehensive plans need to be clear, easily obtainable for the most part, and at the same time be in line with what your infrastructure and capabilities are able to do. Public input will have a lot to do with it as they help steer the direction that they want the town to be or what they envision for the future.
Pam?
All the things that you mentioned are considered in a land use plan and our strategic plan. And you have to think about Holly Ridge as an individual community. It is a community sitting right on Highway 17, which is a main hub going up and down between Jacksonville and Wilmington. So when you go and think about your downtown, we'd love to have a downtown, is Highway 17 right now. So the way you grow and the way you plan to grow, you have to keep this individualness of Holly Ridge in mind. And that was difficult, I'm sure, for all the volunteers on those committees that put these together. It was certainly hard for the council to put the strategic plan in place and put realistic goals, as Brandon said, that we can obtain. We did see some things go by the wayside, but we've seen a whole lot of that have stayed on track.
Richard.
I think the Land Use Committee did a good job, but I would think there's a few things that we still need to work on. I was on the Ordinance Review Committee, and I can tell you we weren't finished. We do have a height limit now of 75 feet. I do not think that's conducive to having a small town. I would like to see that changed back to 45 feet. These things are my biggest concern. I think zoning is what allows buildings to be in certain areas, and that's what we need to control the most. That's all.
Pete?
Yeah, the land use plan, it was a good effort by the team to do it. Although we got good input, I think we need to have more input from the citizens. Behind the real original requirement for our town is to welcoming to new residential and commercial entities to come to Holly Ridge. And that is in our strategic plan. In order to do that, the land use plan needs to be a living document because we need to modify it accordingly. And what we want to do is, through the communication process that I've started, we want to get more input from the citizen in terms of that land use and what is the impact on them and what is the future of Holly Ridge. Again, the strategic plan includes economic growth, economic health, as well as having a vibrant community. So we want to make sure all those implemented and the land use plan supports that.
Thank you, Pete. Dorothy?
I was at the land use plan forum that they had in Holly Ridge, and I think what surprised everybody, including the gentleman who was putting on the presentation, was that it seemed that the number one thing that people wanted was to focus on the proximity to Topsail Island, and that was left out of the discussion beforehand, and people wanted to say, hey, I'm sorry, but we're always going to be the gateway to Topsail Island. We need to focus on that and build businesses around that. We need to get some of those tourist dollars before they get to the beach, like any other community would that's near something as beautiful as Topsail. I think also during the land use plan forum that I went to, they had discussed the majority of the people wanted more green space, more walking trails, more areas they could go and just sit and relax, unwind, and turn off their phones. They were not so focused with affordable housing and track housing and everything else. They wanted more green space that improved the quality of their life, and I think we need to work toward that.
Okay. Thank you, Dorothy. Okay, question. The next question, Rena, I'm going to start with you. What aspect, pay attention here because it's going to be you're going to see it later. What aspect of growth do you feel is the most beneficial to Holly Ridge right now? So what aspect of growth is the most beneficial?
The aspect of growth that I see that is most beneficial to Holly Ridge now is certainly growth and development that affects our community as a whole. Certainly supporting small businesses that can hire the local workforce, and certainly community involvement. And I think if Holly Ridge is wanting to have small businesses such as mom and pop businesses, supermarkets, or grocery stores, they're going to have to be able to support that, because when they come in to do their surveys, they're going to be looking for people to be able to support those businesses so that they will be able to remain in Holly Ridge, so that Holly Ridge citizens won't have to go all over cross country. They can shop right there in their own town, their own neighborhood, and support the businesses there.
Would you read that again for me, please?
Sure. What aspect of growth do you feel is most beneficial to Holly Ridge?
Growing up in Holly Ridge, there was nothing there basically to do. I mean, growth is what brought us where we're at today. Growth is inevitable in eastern North Carolina. It's happening everywhere. Growth brings these businesses in. If you want grocery stores, if you want this, they look at your population. They look at what's there. They don't go by, oh, this is just a small town. Let's put a grocery store there. You've got to have the people. You've got to have the rooftops to bring these businesses in. And whether we do it inside the city limits or whether we do it out, the growth's going to come. And if it comes outside the city limits, then the taxpayers are going to be the one that loses. So it's beneficial in what we can have in Holly Ridge. Most of the people in town now that live here wouldn't be here without realtors, builders, or developers, because they've come from somewhere else. So they have helped with the growth, and that's what we need to go to continue on that.
Okay. Brandon, beneficial growth.
Setting aside the challenges that we would face with any growth, I think we benefit most by more people coming in, more ideas, a fresh vision, a future for us to work towards. Small businesses, bringing in things for the community to do, public engagement in all the programs, more volunteers. Those are the benefits that I envision in a growth.
The
Pam.
aspect of growth that I think has been most beneficial in the last 5 years was jobs. Camp Davis was a huge win for Holly Ridge. It produced a lot of jobs. Before Camp Davis, I had a restaurant across the street, didn't have the customer base at all, just from the community. But not only did it bring jobs, but it also forced the town to tweak all of its processes, how they did zoning, how they did permitting, because that was different. It forced the council to learn how to understand how to zone an industrial park. And we had to create a criteria to who we would allow in there or not. So that was a huge growth for the town, for the council, for the town staff, as well as it produced jobs. Everyone that gets up in Holly Ridge should not have to drive out of Holly Ridge to go to work. They should stay there. They should buy their lunch there. They should go to the bank there. Not in Jacksonville, not in Surf City, not in Sneeze Ferry. They can do that if their job is in Holly Ridge.
Beneficial growth.
Beneficial growth. I think we need commercial growth on Highway 17 and Highway 50. The problem is how do we get there, right? It's done off a traffic count. It's not done off of rooftops. It never has been. If that was true, there wouldn't be a Cracker Barrel on the side of every I-40 exit with no people living there. So I disagree with that entirely. The jobs will come with the creation of that growth on Highway 50 and Highway 17. We need to go out and recruit them. There's companies that you can go and they will help you assist with getting commercial in your area. These are the ways I think we need to go about the commercial growth.
Okay.
We have had a 7% growth rate in Holly Ridge, and by all indications, that's going to continue. Dixon area, according to the county, has 8% growth rate. Growth brings up businesses because they are more profitable when there's more population. But with the challenges with growth is we need to provide better facilities for our citizens, like park and recreation and other facilities that are required. And we can't do that without having the funding, without having the tax base to be able to provide for the citizens everything that they need. We have developed a strategic plan, and the council approved it. And it addresses all of the growth issues in terms of economic growth, in terms of communication with citizens, because we need to get the citizens involved in that communication and get input and have a two-way communication for them to know the benefits of this growth as well. Again, I point everybody to go to the strategic plan to learn about what our platform is.
Okay. Dorothy.
One of our great assets in Holly Ridge is that we do have a major highway that runs right through it. And I think we're not utilizing that correctly. One of the things that I would like to do as mayor is to work with the county to bring an Onslow County Welcome Center to Holly Ridge, and to also incorporate a Camp Davis Historical Society as part of that Welcome Center. This would allow tourists to stop, learn about the area, find local businesses, learn about houses, to really understand that we are an incredibly cultural area when it comes to the historical benefits that Camp Davis had brought us from the Army base, from the local fishermen. We have an extensive amount of people in this area with a great history, and that needs to be shared. I think we're dropping the ball by not having a way for people to stop in Holly Ridge other than just to get gas. It would be lovely if we had something from the military base, maybe a fighter plane or an old tank on display as well, where people could stop and have a picnic, take their pictures with it. We have the history. We need to capitalize on that.
Jeff, beneficial growth.
I agree with Dorothy on that. I like the idea of sharing our history, but I think the best example is the Camp Davis Industrial Park is a wonderful opportunity for the town of Holly Ridge, a chance to work and live in the same area without having a long commute. Also, the additional revenue will support the services needed to serve our town. I'm for annexation. I believe we need to have a seat at the table, be able to collect some revenue from that, and because we're going to have to serve that new community, whether it's annexed or not. So I see a great future for the town as we move forward.
Okay. All right, here's our next question. You probably saw this one coming. Are you ready? What aspect of growth do you feel is the most detrimental to Holly Ridge? And there we go. Greg, I'm going to begin with you on that one.
Traffic. I mean, But what can you do about it? I mean, it's inevitable we're going to have traffic. Now, as far as what we can do about it, well, we can't do much about traffic. I mean, it's even to the point sometimes that I can't even get on the road to Surf City without having to wait for traffic. But it's inevitable when you have a town, you're going to have the traffic problems and you're going to have to deal with it. And so how we would deal with it, I have no answer to that. But I think that's one of our biggest problems.
Okay. Brandon?
And
Detrimental growth.
detrimental growth. So I feel like we're going to repeat ourselves several times, but the pressures and the strains that it will put on our infrastructure, roads, utilities, schools, they're overcrowded now as it is, public services. It's just a strain on everything. And like I said before, we don't have a whole lot of control outside of managing the growth and trying to get ahead of some of the challenges that we know we're going to face, and just have like I said before, a stern focus on that infrastructure and support for whatever growth is ahead of us.
I may appear naive, but I don't see the detriment in the growth. I see the traffic. I live on one side of Highway 17. My family lives on the other, so I come out of that road at least 7 times a day, and there is traffic. But then I also drive to Wilmington and Jacksonville a couple of times a week, and that's what real traffic's all about. The fact that our community is small and our town management is small, the fact that we can keep up with whatever comes at us. I mean, we were sitting there, well, when the thing about Camp Davis came to our table and said, do you want to do it? The fact that we can react to it, that we have the kind of people that are working there, we can react to growth. It doesn't happen overnight. Wishes and wants are wonderful. Reality is real.
Richard, detrimental growth.
Detrimental growth. I would think the most detrimental growth that would cause tax increase. If we increase our taxes to keep up with any development as far as utilities, that would be the most detrimental to our citizens in Holly Ridge. If we build a development or allow a development on 1,200 acres that increases 2,700 homes, that doubles the size of Holly Ridge, it will certainly double our police department, certainly double our fire department, and certainly double our taxes. I think that's inevitable. If we do this, I think that would be the most detrimental thing to our citizens.
Okay. Pete, detrimental growth.
You know, again, growth is natural. The detrimental part of growth is if we don't have smart growth. By that, I mean that we need to have coordination with infrastructure providers and also communicate to our citizens. The infrastructures are schools, DOT for roads, as well as on WASA. So, for example, I've met with the school system CEO, and we have talked about the potential projections for schools. Schools and DOT in every place that I've lived in the U.S. are always behind the growth. They don't build roads to have hope. Houses are around them, or they don't build schools to fill them. I think smart growth means close coordination with not only with the infrastructure providers, but also with the political entities from county, state, as well as federal, to show them the potential so we can get additional funding. Without growth, we won't have enough funding. We don't have the tax base to do things for our citizens.
Dorothy.
Hampstead and Sneads Ferry are neighbors of ours, and neither one are incorporated. The biggest argument I hear from people there is they want to incorporate so they can control growth. It's out of control to them in both of those towns, and I agree based on traffic. I think the magic of having a municipality is we can control growth. I think a 1,200-acre subdivision that includes 2 counties, which Holly Ridge has never been part of Pender County before, that would involve a whole nother mess with schooling and voting and taxes, I think needs to have a really good long look of at least a year before we just jump into something like that. We are talking about adding so many people to our town that our traffic will look like Hampstead. We don't have grocery stores, and I'm sorry, no subdivision designer is going to put a grocery store off of Highway 50 in the backwoods. That's not where they go. They would go on Highway 17. So the fact we don't have one yet with our traffic count tells me that the subdivision and the grandeur that it may bring may not ever bring anything like that. All it'll bring is 2,700 homes of people that are going to complain about the same problems we're complaining about today without having commercial growth first.
Jeff?
I take a little different look on this. I think lack of citizen participation, that's one of our issues. As with many towns and organizations, it's challenging to get citizens involved. By getting citizens involved, they'll be more knowledgeable about the facts and have some input that way by being involved. I worked for Onslow Public Schools for 6 years before I retired last year, so I got an insight on the schools, and from what I understand, they have committed to building a new school in the Holly Ridge area, an elementary school, to help alleviate the overcrowding we have already. Without that annexation, we would lose a lot of revenue, and we're going to have to provide services anyway, so I think the annexation is a good idea.
Thank you, Jeff. Rena, detrimental aspect to growth.
It could be certainly portions of traffic infrastructure as well as taxes, because without proper planning and a vision that's put in place and certainly clear directions, any of those things could be an issue for Holly Ridge. But I certainly tilt my hat to the current board that are working on items such as these so that they can get ahead of as many of them as they can, because we know with all of them, certainly as the infrastructure, that it's going to come behind any annexation or bringing others in. So I think if the town continue to move forward with positive growth and development for its citizens, that we will be fine 5 to 10 years from now. Holly Ridge will be prayerfully where we want it to be.
Okay. Thank you. That wraps up that question. Okay, Brandon, I'm going to toss this one to you to go first. Delays in permitting, restrictive zoning, infrastructure limits all drive up housing costs. What policy or process change would you champion to make building or renovating homes faster and more predictable?
Well, predicting anything like that is difficult, but outlining a clear process in permitting and inspections and a way to basically sell the town to any new development or commercial properties that come in, instill security of support to developers and any commercial. And like I said, it's anything that we can do to make Holly Ridge attractive to that.
Okay. Pam, you got the question okay?
Do it again.
Delays in permitting, restrictive zoning, and infrastructure limits all drive up housing costs. What policy or process change would you champion to make building or renovating homes faster and more predictable?
I think if you went back 5 years, maybe even 6 years ago, the permitting process and the customer service in our town was poor. Over the years, there's a lot more technology that's been put in place, a lot more still being added, so that those folks that it is, again, a small staff. You think about the development we have in the area, and we have, 4 members of the planning department. So the technology certainly helps them a lot. So we're adding technology, we're adding the expertise that they need, and that's really the customer service role. The fact that they can go within 5 miles of anyway and get to the town hall and talk to somebody instead of, not to say anything against Jacksonville, but riding all the way to town to talk to somebody in the county. So I think we're doing well there.
Good. Richard?
As being a general contractor, this one's pretty easy for me. We do not have online permitting if we were to do online permitting, that would streamline everything. It would make it fair. It would make it more affordable. It would make it more accessible. All of these things would pretty much be fixed if we could just start there. I think we have enough employees in the department for inspections and so on, but I think that's the part that we're actually missing.
Richard, thank you. Pete?
Yes, I'm glad
Process.
Mr. Royal brought that up, because our new website that we are in process of putting in place allows for online permitting. But the process of permitting and all the restrictions are to create uniformity and consistency. Of course, we need to communicate that. I can tell you that myself, before I became a mayor, I made a mistake in getting a permitting, and that was because lack of understanding. So we need to have better communication with the citizens in terms of what is needed and what the process is, and a clear process, and the website is going to do that. It's going to walk them through everything they need to do. And there are going to be additional website feature because of the Gov pilot implementation to help everything that's needed by citizens better. And in terms of, again, I may get the opportunity to talk about annexation, but that's a 10-year project. Nothing is going to happen right away. It takes a long time.
Very good. Dorothy, process change.
I have to follow everyone else on this. We need online permitting. If you go to any of our neighboring towns, they all have it. That way you can see step by step what you need. You upload your documents. You can see when an inspection's been done. You can see if you have passed or failed an inspection, and if you failed, what you need to do to get that done. That takes the emotion out of everything. That gives everybody a standard set of rules to go by, and includes allowing us to print off documentation along the way, such as past permits and certificates of occupancy. I think we're way behind the ball on that. The biggest complaint I hear from people is that they'll go to town hall and get told 3 different things from 3 different people. They think they have completed one project. They go back in, they're told they got to pay another $50 and file for this and do this. That's got to stop. That's way past due on being corrected.
Jeff, process changes.
By serving on the planning board, I was also involved with, we had a group that went through all the ordinances and stuff and made recommendations that came to the planning board. We also made some recommendations before it went to the council for approval. That being said, I think there's still room for improvement, and they currently are, I'm currently going to be joining in, depending on if I get elected or not, a new committee for a unified development ordinance, which means we're going to go back through all the ordinances again and combine them, make them more simpler so that people understand. And like Pete said, with the new website coming out, there's going to be a lot more availability, accessibility, and the builders will be able to get all the information they need up front.
Okay. Rena, process changes.
Certainly, delays in permitting, I agree, certainly could be a problem, but we, the town, have to continue to work with developers and the citizens, and certainly being consistent in the rules and guidelines that are set, and go back periodically and look at those to make sure that it's to help to move the process further and not hinder the process in getting it done.
Greg?
Well, I remember when we really didn't have a process. We didn't have a building inspector. We had to rely on the county. And like it was said, coming to Jacksonville, it was a problem with coming up here, and it took so long. We do have some things that we can correct, but our staff is where they are stepping up, and as they see improvements, they're doing the improvements. I don't get the phone calls like some people say they get. I leave my number out there, 910-329-8261, for people to let me know what's going on. And I encourage people to do that. But as far as problems, I think we've got the best staff in our planning department we've ever had. And I know there's going to be problems arise. I know there's places that we can improve, but where they are able, and they do see where they need improvements, and they start making them. But then again, what budget allows is what we can do. And so we have to remain within a budget to be able to do certain things.
All righty. Okay, that completes that question. Thank you all. Now, I'm going to make this very clear. This is hypothetical. I do not have big pockets. If the town of Holly Ridge were to receive a $5 million grant to use any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why? Again, hypothetically.
I think about winning the lottery all the time, and what I would do with $1 million here and $1 million there. $5 million to Holly Ridge, believe it or not, doesn't really go far. We just did a Parks and Rec, and we did a loan to do the roads. You know, $1.5 million, it just is nothing anymore. So what I would do, I would love to see some restructuring of the municipal building so that we could support a more customer service oriented business unit, where the police station and the fire department and everybody were more together, cohesive. You couldn't do that with $50 million, but $5 million might buy a lot.
With the hurricanes being in our area, I think we should build a building that would house everybody and basically make it a convention hall. Make sure that we have enough power, water, everything on site, and be able to invite people there if there was an actual emergency, which we have definitely had in the past. I've been through Fran. That was horrible. The last one wasn't any better. You see your community almost come apart during these things, and it would be a place of bringing us back together.
Thank you, Richard. Pete?
Yes.
Not really giving you $5 million, but
Okay, that's good.
tell us your dream.
Well, the $5 million can do a lot. First, I would add some of it, $1 million of it, to the reserve that we pulled out last year for the budget balance, or for this year from the budget balance. So I would improve parks and recreation, a sports complex, and maybe a pool area. Of course, we have to acquire the land. I also would explore, J&J Factory just closed, and they have put the land on sale, or the whole place on sale. I would try to negotiate some level of pricing for that in order for us to have a larger space and larger, broader area to build a downtown. I would also, I've been talking to some of the healthcare providers, and their question is the headcount to be profitable. I would try to subsidize one of the healthcare companies that I'm talking to come to Holly Ridge and provide an emergency care.
Thank you, Pete. Dorothy?
This one's easy for me. I would take the $5 million and allocate it to building water towers in Holly Ridge. If we had to do it as a partnership with Onwassa, or however it took, I think that's a critical need that we have right now. If we had any change left over, I would add parking to our park. We're the only park I've ever been to that doesn't really have any parking. So those are two improvements I would make with the $5 million.
Jeff?
Everybody took my ideas. I was going to say I'd like to accelerate the plans for the new municipal building to get all the departments together to be more efficient, with input from the citizens and other board members. I like the idea of putting some of it towards the downtown, also replacing the reserve, because we did have to take money out of the reserve, and it's down to 28%, I believe, right now, which is a bit low. And no tapping, sorry. Yeah, $5 million doesn't go very far.
Yeah.
Cost nearly $2 million for just fixing some of the roads we had. So do what we could.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, Rena, I'm Santa Claus. Hypothetically.
All of the answers are gone, but I certainly would combine the town hall and police department, somehow pull that group together and make a building there that's support all of them and any future needs, planning for future needs as well. And certainly not forgetting the fire department, because we're always going to need them if something is going on in the town, and it's not always a fire. So we want to make sure that we break off a little piece for them, for them to grow, and hopefully put EMT station back in there, or a paramedic station, so that Holly Ridge will have some of the other benefits of that other towns have as well.
Thank you, Rena. Greg?
Well, it's nice to have $5 million, and everything everybody said is great. The bottom line is, what are we going to do for the taxpayers? We need to make sure that their needs are addressed with that money and not their wants. And everybody's got wants, but somebody's got to pay the bill. Over the last several years, we reduced our tax rate by 7.5 cents, and that's directly for the taxpayers' benefit. And I encourage that. I'm not one to take from fund balance. I'm not to pay our bills. You don't take from savings to pay your bills. So that would prevent us from having to go to fund balance. But the bottom line is the taxpayers. What do the taxpayers need, and what could we do with that windfall of money and not put ourselves deeper in debt to where, and eventually it's going to cost us more. If somebody gives you something and you spend it, it's not necessarily going to be that you're going to have it next year when you need it. So if we go out and build a bunch of buildings and we get in debt, then who's going to pay for it in the future? The taxpayers are going to pay for it. So that's the bottom line, looking out for the taxpayers.
Greg, thank you. Brandon?
So $5 million would be nice. I wouldn't turn it down, but it would go quick. But given my background, I'm going to lean more towards preparation. There's a lot of unknown, especially living on a coastal community. Like I said, it would be fast. Everything's more expensive today. My last quote for a new fire station is $7 to $9 million alone. So even if we just do a facelift on our facilities as it is now, and do some equipment upgrades for the police department, fire department, public works, anything we need to button up for our infrastructure, like our streets. Yep. That's all.
All righty. Okay. I'm going to start, let's see, Richard. What role should the community input play in local government?
Role the community, I don't think we have enough volunteers. I think there's a lot of volunteers out there that would love to help. There's people that have approached for the beautification committee. There's people that have approached to help us put on festivals. There's a lot of people that have asked me to go that way in the campaigning that we've done. We've been to people's homes. We've been invited in their homes, lucky enough to do that. And that's one of the things I have found going around and doing this campaign, is that we have a mountain of people that would love to contribute their time and energy for nothing if we would just let them.
Good. All righty. All the way down to the other end. Pete?
Yeah. It's very important. Community input is very important. When I started being a mayor, I created office hours where the community can come ask any questions, and I've had more than 100 visitors in the year. Excuse me. We also have had weekly communication. I think communication with the community and have them provide feedback to us is very important. I'm going to give you an example. When we found out that we can do something in the Holly Ridge Plaza, I suggested to the community to provide input, imagine what could be done. Not that we're going to do it, but imagine what could be done, and create a work group to hear that type of feedback from the community. I think looking at the strategic plan, we talk a lot about community engagement, which is important because that's the only way we can make progress and also have the support of community for us to be able to lead it, especially for me, although I don't vote, but I can lead the community in the right direction.
Very good.
Volunteers are the most valuable asset any community has. The more volunteers you have, the less work town employees have to do, the less burden there is on the town. I am an avid believer in putting together committees and groups, and not everyone will pan out to work out to the way we want, and I think that's part of the town council's job is to help guide committees, but not to overwhelm them and not to participate in them and suffocate the volunteers. I think we could install 10 or 12 committees right off the top of my head that would make Holly Ridge a more accessible, friendlier environment for everybody who lives there. And like Rick said, I think we have the people willing to do it. They just have to feel that they're needed and that their opinions and their words matter. That's the most important thing, is saying thank you and really requiring them to be as into it as you are and to say, I love this town, I want to make it better, let's work together, and that's the best thing we can do.
Thank you. All right, Jeff, community input.
It's very important. Like I said before, we actively seek public input and participation. We use this during the land use planning process. Even in our neighborhood where I'm the HOA associate, I'm on the HOA board. We have monthly meetings and very few people come. They like to complain, but then they don't like to participate or be active during our meetings or even when we schedule events. But with the town, I said it before, if you have enough community input, they're right there to see all the facts, help make decisions, be a part of it, and we can all work towards a better town.
Okay. Rena, community input.
I agree with the others that certainly community input is very important, and people do want to be a part of things that are going on in their town. Certainly not everyone, but enough people to make a difference, to make a change. And I think as people become to volunteer and become involved from the community, then they appreciate what they're being involved in so that they can tell others and encourage them to come and participate in the different plans that are made or set in place for everyone.
Thank you, Rena. Greg, community involvement.
The town has always encouraged people to volunteer for different things we've had. As far as community input, there's been many a time that we've had a meeting that we might have had 2 or 3 people in the audience. There's time when they can speak, but there's also times when they can contact any one of us and tell us what they'd like to have. It's easy to say, I want to have volunteers to work, but then again, even Brandon can contest to the fact that you have 20 firemen go to a fire, but when the fire's out, you got 3 of them picking up the hose line. So that's kind of the way it works. Everybody wants to be on a committee and everybody wants to do something special, but then when it comes time to the work, then they're not there to finish the work. And so, yeah, community input's great if the community wants to do it, but it seems like when we have a meeting, the only time we get anybody at our meeting is when there's a controversy. Come to the meetings all the time. Don't rely on the internet or don't rely on anything like that. Come to the meeting so you can hear and get the input right.
So
Brandon.
input from the public is almost imperative to the success of any council or board or group. These are the people that we're there to serve and represent. They're going to tell you the problems that they see, the concerns they have, and the vision that they want in the town. So I think it's very important for us to be open to all of that. And yeah.
Okay. Pam?
I've got two sides to answer that. One is what Greg was saying about the input at the council meetings. We had a council meeting one night and we were stumped for a resolution. And I mean, it was uncomfortable. We just were not moving forward for a resolution. It was important. And lo and behold, someone sitting there said, well, what about so-and-so? And it was the perfect answer. Oh my gosh. Everybody's like, that's it. So we need that. I mean, we don't have all the answers. Somebody sitting there has to speak. And that was so great. And we had a solution instantly. The other thing about committees, think back on how many times you are personally asked to show up for something every Tuesday at 4:30. How hard that becomes on the third time you try to do it. Committees are tough. And if you have a committee that is sanctioned by the town, then a town member or a town employee has to be a part of it and manage it. That adds a need for more resources. So you got to be careful about the committee approach. I know volunteerism is hard, and we love it and we need it, but it is hard.
Thank you, Pam. Okay, next question, and we're back around with you, Pete, starting us off. The question is, what do you feel is the smartest decision that the town of Holly Ridge has made in the last 10 years?
I can only speak for the past year. I have some background on a lot of things that have been done in the past. I think the smarter decision that we have made is, at least in the past year, is start planning our website, improve our website to improve communication with the citizens. We have improved communication with the mayor on behalf of the council. We have tried to encourage more participation in the council meetings by citizens. If I go back to, based on what I've heard from others in the past, every home community that is Holly Ridge has been annexed to Holly Ridge. That includes summer house, neighborhoods, everyone. So what that has allowed us is to have a structured town staff and provide better services to town employees. It's been Holly Ridge was small, and now we are at 5,700. So I think getting the citizens involved and providing facilities for them has been great.
That's a weird question. I'm going to have to go with making.
You're welcome.
I'm going to have to go with making Holly Ridge a Bee City USA. For those of you who aren't aware, Holly Ridge is now a Bee City USA, which means that we do things within the city to promote pollinating plants and natural growth and not using poisons. We have a Bee City Festival the fourth Saturday of every April. We just had our second. It was a tremendous success. I think more people have learned things about Holly Ridge. I know when we had the first festival 2 years ago, we had people that met each other that hadn't seen each other in 10, 20 years, and they said this is a wonderful event. Plus, they also learned how to become beekeepers, and they've learned the value of plants and things like that within the community. I think every step that every town makes toward making a healthier environment for everybody in it is a wonderful thing. So I would have to say in the last 10 years, the most wonderful thing Holly Ridge has done is to become a Bee City.
Very good. All right. Jeff, smartest thing that they've done?
The smartest thing they've done is take advantage of planning and developing the Camp Davis. It's really put Holly Ridge on the map, and I think other politicians all the way up to the federal level now realize how good this is for our county and our citizens. Also, the strategic plan is also another good one. It's the first time it's ever been done, and it gives guidelines not only to the current board, but future boards for the next 5 years or longer. So I think those are the two.
Thanks, Jeff. Rena, smartest thing they've done?
I think there's several smart things that they've done. Certainly Camp Davis was one, but certainly with adequate staffing of not only just the town hall, but the police department, as well as giving the fire department an opportunity to add some additional staff as well, because without all those roles filled and those people in place, it would cause it a hardship for the other people that would have to make up for the lack of staffing to go through the meetings for different developments and planning and going with the mission of Holly Ridge as a whole. So it's going to take everyone, certainly include the community as well. And just like it's been said, people will volunteer to do things, but when it's time to get it done, it doesn't get done because they back off for different reasons, and they have to understand that. But I think planning and staffing in Camp Davis has really been awesome for the town.
Very good. Greg, smartest thing Holly Ridge has done?
I think the most recent thing we've done is establishing a public information officer who can get the information out and to the people, and they have their comments come in. Another thing, it's not just one thing. We've done our strategic plan, which is planning for the future. We've also, the industrial park has been a big boom. We help promote that. Joe Ed has really pushed to help us get the industrial park going. So to name one particular thing that was the greatest, I don't know. I know that we finally, after years of trying, we finally got to where we can do online meetings. And that's something that we've worked on, but money didn't allow it. And, time didn't allow it. We just didn't have the money to do a lot of things. So that's what happens when you start getting more revenue into the town. You start being able to do things like that. So any future things we want to do depends on what kind of revenue we get in.
Very good. What's the smartest thing the town of Holly Ridge has done in the last 10 years? Brandon?
So briefly, I'll say what the town could do to keep our taxes low and doing what they can not to cause any increases when it's not needed. But most exciting thing to me is, just because of my background, is the investment the town's made in emergency services in town. Just over the past year, we've implemented a 24-hour paid staff at the fire department. We've added a police officer or two, right? And back to the fire department, we're also the first town in Onslow County that's increased our EMS service level to paramedic. So we offer that 24/7. Yep.
Very good, Brandon, thank you. Pam had something terribly urgent that she had to leave for, so I'm sorry. We will miss Pam. Richard, smartest thing the town's done?
This is probably embarrassing, but I think it was hiring Brandon Longo as our fire chief. I do. He's done more for our town for less money than anybody I know. And I've grown up there, I've lived there, I've worked there, I've had years of experience with him being there, and I don't think there's any doubt in that.
Wow. Commercial endorsement right there. There. Thank you, Richard. Okay, next question. And you might have seen this one coming, and I'm going to toss it to Dorothy. What do you feel is the greatest mistake or missed opportunity that has happened to Holly Ridge in the last 10 years?
The last 10 years?
Yeah. What did we goof?
I think one of the things I would have done if I'd been on the council when the industrial park was first opened, I would have acquired some of the land in there for ourselves for a much bigger, better park that's on 17. Something that we could offer carnivals and festivals that would have easy access to a lot of traffic without impacting residential structures. I know there's still some land back there, but I do feel that that would have made it way more viable for people to come and find our festivals and to see what we can offer here in town. But I do think that that was a missed opportunity that the town should have taken advantage of, at least acquiring some of the land for future use. When they were talking about a municipal center, I think that would have been the perfect location for it. Being on a major highway is a huge asset to a lot of those things.
Good. Jeff, missed opportunity.
I agree with this town not acquiring more land or keeping more land for future use. That was one of their missed opportunities. But also giving up control of the water and sewer system. It may have seemed like the right idea at the time to join Onwassa, I'm sorry. But if we had our own, at one time we did have our own water sewer system, and if we could have built upon that or afforded to, then be much more in control of it and better off.
Okay. Rena, missed opportunity, mistake.
I cringed at Jeff because I was like, oh, you took my answer. But I think the greatest missed opportunity, certainly looking now at the town and the issues and opportunities that are before us, is the water and sewer, giving up the water and sewer facility, because I know that it was causing somewhat difficulties for us, but looking at it now, you'd be like, wow, we should have kept that, and then we could have kept upgrading possibly and be able to not have the questions of we don't have enough water, or the water pressure's low, or we can't let Bob build because we can't offer water or sewer to them. And so I think that's just unfortunate for the town as a whole.
Okay. Greg, missed opportunity. What do you see?
I don't know of any real major opportunities we missed out on. The mistakes was not to give up our water system. At the time, we couldn't afford to build a new treatment plant. We were always behind there. That's part of like infrastructure. You're always behind on infrastructure. When the county took over, we were able to expand the system and provide services to more. Giving up our water system, we didn't have a choice. It was either give up your water system or not get the sewer from the Onslow. So I don't consider that a mistake. I consider it because you cannot build a plant and treat it and all, because you've got the same thing with somebody that's 100,000 population or 10,000 population. The treatment's the same. So the cost-wise, it wouldn't be feasible for us to go back to that because it's just not feasible. Regionalization's where it's at, and that's what's going to happen in the future. More Pender County, everybody's going to start going regional, and that's where you're going to save the taxpayers and the customers money.
Thank you, Greg. Brandon, missed opportunity.
With the vision of growth that the town has and that people are wanting, I think where the town missed out on is investing in land over the last many years. There's not a whole lot of room in town for the town to build anything, really, without tearing down what they have and rebuilding. And that just puts a strain on services altogether. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Brandon. Richard, missed opportunity, mistake.
As a builder, this one's kind of easy. We've got 3 developments that are coming out of the ground or have come out of the ground that were offering commercial space up front. They basically told us, let us build the residential and we'll give you something nice commercial up front, doctor's office, shopping mall, and then they continued to build the houses and never give us commercial. Like in Wilmington, what they do is they require simultaneous permitting. So if you're going to build the houses in the back, you have to pull the permits for the commercial in the front at the same time. So this would give us our commercial, and one of our biggest complaints would be resolved.
Gotcha. Pete, any missed opportunities?
Yeah, the missed opportunity that I think from a business leader perspective is that we didn't have a long-term plan. Through the years, with all the effort that good people in charge did, they didn't have a strategic plan, a 5-year out, 7-year out living plan, as well as a long-term budget to see where we're going, and that's what we have done now. So we have a strategic plan and a long-term plan. And of course, another opportunity has been that not enough communication with citizens, not have automated systems, which we are doing, and improving communication with the citizen. I heard about Camp Davis being a mistake. I disagree with that because Camp Davis has helped our economy to be about $600 million economy with the industrial park and what's going on. Growing that industrial park in the next phase or the next 10 years can increase our economy by $1.5 billion. So Camp Davis initial phase 1 and 2 was the start of that.
Okay. All right, that completes that question. Lorette, should I go one more question, or do we need to give them the wrap up?
Let's wrap it up.
Okay, very good. It wasn't a great question anyway. You're not missing anything. At this point, I'm going to give you the opportunity, 60 seconds, to say anything you'd like about things that have been said or things that you feel strongly about. And I believe we start with Jeff.
All right. As far as the annexation, I personally have talked with the developer and gone to the meetings and so forth. He's committed to giving 2 parcels to Onawassa to include, for wells and so forth. He's given area. Dedicated area to build a new school possibly in conjunction with OCS. And he's also offered to give a large portion to a park for the city. And we also have our master plan park already, but then again, that's going to be pretty big lift with $10 million. But that's what people want. They want more green space, more walkable places, and so developing it downtown and developing these parks and moving forward is good for everyone.
Okay. Rena,
Okay.
the floor is yours, ma'am.
All right. I will certainly, I think Holly Ridge has really done an awesome job for the mission and the plans for the town of Holly Ridge and moving forward in reference to preparing for future years and not just looking right in front of them, but certainly looking out for when they're no longer here or when we're no longer here. What are we leaving for our children and what are we leaving for our grandchildren? I think they're doing an awesome job in getting that done. I think it's important for the growth and development, certainly for the town, because it's going to affect the entire town as a whole. And certainly my running is my commitment to Holly Ridge is certainly not based on campaign promises, but it's based on passion. And I know that if the citizens certainly have the will to vote for me, I certainly would make Holly Ridge proud.
Very good. Greg?
You know, my entire life, I served my God, my family, my country, and the town. I've been in service, adult life. I've been in public service my whole entire life. I don't know, people ask me, why do you keep doing it? It's because I love the town. There's two reasons people get in politics. It's to get something for themselves or because they love where they live. I've lived there all my life. It's my home. I'm never going to do anything that's going to hurt my home. Holly Ridge is my home. So when I'm on the board, I never make a decision that I don't think is in the best interest of the town. I know the town. I know the communities we're in. I ride through every one of these little communities from time to time. So I know the town. But again, I won't do anything that's going to hurt the town because it's the only place I know to live. And I appreciate any votes I can get. I appreciate all the votes I can get and the support. And I look forward to whatever I can do in the next 4 years.
Thank you, Greg. Brandon, your closing comments, sir.
Okay. So not one person up here can make everybody happy. There will be difficulties and there will be disagreements. All I can do is assure that my moral compass will be pointed towards the facts and educated decision-making. The time that we can invest in research and considering input from the community will pay off in the long run. Decisions that are made in haste could have a negative impact on the town and cost the taxpayers a lot of money. Our town faces real challenges, but also great opportunities. Let's make sure our growth brings benefits and not burdens. At the end of the day, I want what's fair and what's best for the citizens. It would be an honor to serve and represent you. And God bless you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Richard, your closing comments.
Yes, sir. I think this election is actually very simple. It's about the annexation. It certainly seems to be the hot topic, and it will affect everyone extensively. Either you vote incumbent and you vote for the annexation, or you vote newcomer and you vote against the annexation. Josh Patty, our mayor pro tem, is against the annexation. He's done his own studies. He's looked into it, and he hasn't found one instance that an annexation has been profitable of that size in North Carolina. I agree with Josh. I think Brandon agrees with me, and I know Joe agrees with us. So if you would, please vote for us, and let's take the annexation off the table.
Richard, thank you. Pete,
Yeah.
your closing comments, sir.
A lot of discussions that we have had, the answers can be found in our living strategic plan. We have 5 core areas: safe and vibrant environment, organizational excellence, economic growth, economic health, and infrastructure upgrade. And we have a 7-year budget plan which is going to direct us in what makes Holly Ridge better. As a mayor and as I continue this job, I commit to continue to improve communication with the citizens. I commit to continue my connections with politicians to provide support for us as we grow. I commit to lead the council with the best ability that I have. I am one of the first full-time mayors of Holly Ridge. I actually spent full-time there. And I hope the citizens give me a chance to finish some of the jobs that I started. There are a lot of projects on deck, and I want to see the completion. And I would love your vote, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Dorothy, bring us home, ma'am.
When I was a child, I used to come to Holly Ridge, and I'd go to the Five and Dime store on the corner of Sound Road. That was one of my favorite memories of Holly Ridge. Of course, all those businesses are gone, and I don't know why. I would like to see us bring back small-town businesses to Holly Ridge. We need a hotel. We're on 17. We need a fast food restaurant. I'm sorry, but where in America do you drive through a town like Holly Ridge and there's not even a fast food restaurant? So I know some people say, oh, that's not good, but that brings other things. And we need to focus on commercial coming into Holly Ridge, whether it's for jobs or just services for the people that live there. Rooftops do not make the rest of us have a better life. They don't. Commercial businesses do. Medical centers do. Offering services where you don't have to drive in a Hampstead or Sneads Ferry or Jacksonville or Wilmington do. We have a wonderful community. We have a lot of people with great energy. We need to grab onto that. We need to celebrate the history of our town, and we need to be proud to be from Holly Ridge. My name is Dorothy Royal. I'd love your vote on November 4th.
Thank you, Dorothy. Lorette, back to you, ma'am.
Thank you. And thank you all for making the trek on 17 from Holly Ridge. I live in Verona and drive it back and forth 5 days a week. I feel your pain. So I also want to thank the city of Jacksonville for the use of these facilities and their media service. Thank you again to our sponsor, the Jacksonville Board of Realtors. Now, if you missed any part of the Forum Onslow, you can check the listings on G10 for rebroadcasting times. You can also view it on the Chamber's Facebook page and the city's Facebook page. Remember, your vote is your voice and matters that are important to the town of Holly Ridge. Absentee ballot request forms are available online at the Onslow County Board of Election website, as well as addresses and times for the early one-stop voting, which will be held at the Onslow County Board of Elections. Election Day is November 4th from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. at your local precinct. On behalf of the Jacksonville-Onslow Chamber of Commerce, thank you for joining us for this candidates forum. This concludes our program.
Thank you.
Thank you.